Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to the Class of 2030's welcome presentation, the first step in the transition process to welcoming your sons and daughters to our academies. My name's Nikki Barr. I'm one of the assistant principals here at the Avonbourne Boys and Girls Academy. Unfortunately, Mrs. Dyer, our principal, has been taken unwell today, and I know she was very much looking forward to welcome you all to our academies through this presentation. She sends her apologies and she looks forward to welcoming you at our first live event for the transition process in June, and I'll speak to you about that a little bit later on. So, for those of you who aren't aware, our academies are part of a multi-academy trust called United Learning, and we run alongside the Glenmore and Winton Academies, which you may have heard of also in Bournemouth. United Learning has a range of over 60 schools, ranging from primary, secondary, independent, and all through schools. They have been one of the most recognised and successful multi-academy trusts in the country. Avonbourne Girls and Boys Academies are line managed by a regional director. Some people may be aware of him. His name is Mr. Stuart Ingram, and he was previously the principal at Glenmore and Winton Academies. We have termly monitoring visits, half-termly data scrutiny, weekly updates, specialist subject support, school-to-school support, and comprehensive CPD for all staff provided to Avonbourne from United Learning. We also have student excellence visits and trips across the group. So co-location, I know through lots of our open morning tours, people often come to us and ask us, are you two schools, are you one school? And we really do believe that we have the best of both. We're single-sex teaching in a co-educational environment. Departments are co-located to ensure the very best in terms of teacher expertise, resources, and the sharing of best practice. We have one senior leadership team who work across both academies. We are still two separate schools with two separate Ofsted reports, two websites, and treated by the academy sponsor as two separate schools. However, for those of you who have come and looked around, we can understand that feeling of very much a togetherness as you will walk around the school, seeing boys and girls classes taught next door to each other, and the boys and girls mixing at break and lunch times and through our after-school club programme. Now, we are obviously incredibly proud of the recent improvements at the academies. However, we strive for continuous improvement in all that we do. Mrs. Dyer's popped some quotes there on the slides, and this information is all available for you to see on our website. But some of the standout figures that you might see that I've highlighted there in yellow are our Progress 8 scores. Now, Progress 8, for those of you that don't know, is the progress students make from their starting point to their end point in secondary school. You can see there that these are the first set of results that we've had since COVID last year, and we were so proud to announce in the Girls Academy we achieved a Progress 8 score of plus 1.16. Now that actually places us second in Bournemouth, Poole and Christchurch schools and 19th in the country as a whole. Our Boys Academy has also done incredibly well with a plus score of 0.44. But being the competitive school that we are, we certainly look forward to matching that over the next few years and watching our boys soar through their progress and success. Now at Avonbourne, we are unapologetically ambitious for all our students and believe that they have limitless potential. However, our high standards and academic rigour are balanced with warmth and support. We understand that a good education is much more than academic outcomes, and our education with character framework sits at the heart of our academies. We have an extensive extracurricular offer and opportunities for students to become the best versions of themselves that they can be. We welcome visits to the school, and I will be talking a little bit more about open mornings and the potential chance for you to come and have a look around later on in the presentation. But I know Mrs. Dyer wanted me to extend that warm welcome to you all. We cannot wait for you to join our Avonbourne community. For now, I'm going to pass over to Mr. Kidman, who is in charge of our grammar stream, so he can tell you a little bit more about how that runs at the Avonbourne Academies. And I'll be back to speak to you at the end of this presentation. Thank you, Mr. Kidman.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tom Kidman, and I am very proud to be the Grammar Stream Coordinator and Head of History here at Avonbourne Academies. Now, our Grammar Stream is something which is quite new for us as a school, and we look forward to developing this over the coming years. So we've got three big aims for our grammar stream. The first one is to ensure all high priority students make excellent academic progress. They're coming in at a very high level and we want them to leave at that very high level as well. So it's my job to make sure that academic tracking is going on and make sure every child is really supported and comfortably pushed to the very best that they can be. We also, though, don't want to just focus on the academics, although they are very important. We want to develop our students' culture and character to stand out from their peers. That means giving them those opportunities to develop their wider understanding of world and society, making sure they're taking part in clubs and trips and everything else which makes secondary school that so exciting. And then finally, we want to make sure that our students are facilitated to really enrich the world. And that ultimately is about making sure they're really nice people, taking part in charity events and being that real embodiment for the local community. Now, in terms of the grammar stream, what is different about the grammar stream and what is different to other streams? Well, all students come into this school in terms of mixed ability streams for the first half term, and then from October, they go into their stream. So in those first few weeks, they set baseline assessments with us. They're all very low stakes, and it's all about making sure the student is getting that right level of teaching so that all students at Avonbourne make excellent progress. For our grammar stream, we are partnered with the University of Southampton. So we're one of the only local grammar streams, because I know most schools now have their own version of the grammar stream locally, and we're the only ones partnered with the University of Southampton. That means we go to them on visits, they come to us on visits, and Year 7 are just starting to get their first experiences of that in the next few months. We have a tailored tutor time programme for the grammar stream. We work very closely with the University of Oxford and their Oxplore programme, where they tackle big questions. So every other week, they spend all of their tutor times looking at what University of Oxford have put out, engaging in their videos, engaging with academics, and then debating at the end. Big questions like, should the world be completely meat-free? Should we get rid of cars? What else have they done recently? Who should earn more, nurses or footballers? That was very controversial debate which they recently took part in. And they also look at current affairs. They have dedicated assemblies, look at really specific careers programs tailored for the grammar stream, as well as guest subjects where they get to experience different subjects which they might not normally experience in years 7 to 9. They will have accelerated learning and greater challenge, as you would expect for students who come in at a high level. And we also look at their enrichment. They have a masterclass society, and tonight it was the maths department who took them beyond the subjects which they're taught in the curriculum and got them really enthused for maths. I'd recently led a history one, where again we went beyond the curriculum up to all the connections in the world in the year 1000. So that's all about taking students beyond their curriculum and getting them really enthused. Year 7 is currently the only year group with a grammar stream because it's new for us, but as it rises up through the years, we've got different things coming in. So Year 9 essay competition, so that all students develop these research skills which will take them on and really prepare them for higher education. And in Key Stage 4 and Key Stage 5, we're looking at pathways, which include the Oxbridge Pathway programme, which is unique to United Learning, as well as potential careers and putting them on 4-year career pathways for that. And we'll, of course, match those to students' interests. My role then is around academic tracking and making sure that no student is slipping and making sure that every student is pushed throughout years 7, 8 and 9, because that is often years in other schools where they do not make as much progress as they could. So lots is the same for the grammar stream as it is for other students. Subject studies, all exactly the same. They all study the United Learning curriculum, which is really rigorous and academically based. We have a very research-informed teaching and learning framework, and that leads to the excellent results that Ms. Barr spoke about at the start of the presentation. They still have all the pastoral support of the year team. We are really proud that there is stream movement within our grammar stream. They're not fixed. We know that students progress at different rates, and actually the grammar stream might be the right place for someone in year 7, but actually it might not be by year 9, and equally it might not be the right place in year 7, but it could be by year 9. So as part of our rank order assessments, there will be that possibility to move in and out of the grammar stream, and ultimately you want all students to work really hard and make excellent progress, and that supports our whole school ethos. I've already talked about the first half term mixed ability teaching whilst they all undertake their baseline assessment, so there's no extra exams to get into the grammar stream. We do all of that when they first arrive, and all students take the same baseline assessments. We still have the single sex teaching. There's a grammar stream in the boys academy and a grammar stream in the girls academy, and of course we have high expectations of all of our students, which leads to the excellent progress which you've seen at the start of the presentation. So the grammar stream will continue to change and evolve as we continue to develop the provision. And what I always say to parents and students is that it's really important to remember that whether students in the grammar stream or not in the grammar stream, all students receive an excellent education at Avonbourne, as our results now show. I'm now going to pass over to Mr. Goldsmith to talk about culture.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kidman. As Tom just said, my name is James Goldsmith and I lead on behaviour and culture here at Avonbourne Academies. Alongside, and I'm sure you've already got the image, alongside securing excellent academic outcomes for our students, we also believe that students should end up being well-rounded, confident and happy individuals. And the way we do that is through both the Avonbourne Way and our Academy's core values. Now, the Avonbourne Way is a set of behaviours that we try and instill in our students through everyday interactions to ensure that they can be the best versions of themselves. So we ask them as students to have a positive work ethic, to take responsibility for their own behaviour, to take pride in being on time, to complete their work to the highest standard possible, to respect others and their own opinions, but also to be prepared for their lessons so they give themselves the best possible opportunity to be successful. We have 5 core values and we refer to them as our reach values. And I speak to students, and I know other staff do, we speak about these values a lot. When we think about who we want to be and when we think about the image we want people outside to have of our students, it always comes down to these 5 core values. We expect all of our students to show respect, and by that we mean to have integrity, to act in the way that you've brought them up to act at home, whether they're being watched in a classroom or they're out on the streets, going to and from school on a bus or on a sporting fixture. We always want them to act with integrity. We expect our students to show equality and care for one another. We're passionate that all of our students should be ambitious regardless of previous academic achievement or social circumstances. We want them to know that the world is there for them to achieve some absolutely outstanding things. We want these academies to be at the absolute heart of our community. We want our students to go out and lead and show the qualities that they have, and be confident and happy to show those abilities. And then finally, we understand that success comes from hard work, and we want to instill that in our young people. We want them to understand that in order to be successful, they also need to be resilient. One of the main questions we get, and I know this being a parent myself, is about uniform and equipment. It can be daunting when people first come to a secondary school with a massive amount of changes, but please be reassured there is extensive and clear guidance that we provide. We do expect our students to look professional and take pride in their performance. We want to equip them in that respect for the wider world they're going to go in. But please also be reassured that there are opportunities for you between now and when they start to come in and speak to staff and check the uniform that you've bought and the equipment that you've bought, so that you can make sure that's absolutely right before we start in September. We also want to ensure that students have no barriers to learning. So for this reason, we have lineups every day where students' equipment is checked in the morning and uniform is checked. And our excellent team of pastoral leads and heads of year ensure that all students then go to lesson, making sure they've got absolutely everything they need to be able to be successful in the day ahead. Now, we have a very clear and well-established behaviour system here at Avonbourne, and that is all based on ensuring that we have disruption-free learning within the class. We understand the impact that low-level disruption has on learning, and we're passionate that all students should have the opportunity to learn at pace and learn from the quality teachers that we have in the building. One of the key things that, you know, one of the biggest things about being part of United Learning is we have a fantastic group of teachers here now, and it's really, really important to us that students can learn in an environment where their learning is not disrupted by individuals in a group. So please, when you get the opportunity later on, if you haven't already done that, to come in and see us in action, you know, any day of the week, come in and make sure that you see what the lessons are like and what this school is like. There is an open door policy there for you to do these things. And then finally, we also understand that character, and we will talk about character education a lot when students come here, is often built outside of the classroom. So we put extensive investment into creative fields here. When you come and have a look around the buildings and you see the sports halls and the dance studios, you can see that outside of just the academic, we also value those creative fields. So we invest in not just teaching staff, but in the facilities to ensure that we have an outstanding provision for sporting and artistic pursuits. And, you know, you'll get the opportunity to look at the climbing walls. I know students have just come back now from a ski trip and cultural visits. So these are all things that we know that students, when they go and progress on, are some of their most memorable things from school. Thank you. I'm going to pass over to Mr. Griffiths now, who's going to talk to you about the house system.
Hello, I'm Mr. Griffiths. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm going to talk to you about the house system here at Avonbourne Academy. Can I get the next slide? So we're excited to announce that Avonbourne Academies is launching a new house system. So all pupils joining us in September will be placed into one of our 5 houses. This house group will be their form group, and they will stay with this group until the entirety of their school career. For the most part, the first part up to the October half term, this will also be their teaching group. So they'll be in their house group for form time and their teaching group before they get streamed, and then they'll have a new teaching group, but their house group will remain the same as they go through the school. And the idea behind this was we wanted to create a house system that will allow pupils to take part in outreach events, so we can sort of bolster our fundraising, our charity events, and get pupils involved. We want to have more community events. We want to celebrate the successes that we have from all our pupils throughout the year and make sure that that is celebrated from year on year and within the house system. And also competitions. We want some healthy rivalry between the house groups on events such as Sports Day, get people really involved and really enjoying being part of this wider community. I'm now going to talk to you about what a typical school day looks like at Avonbourne Academies. So the school day starts at 8:30 and it finishes at 3:25 each day. The school is open from 8 AM, so pupils can arrive and be in the building at 8 AM. And if they arrive any earlier than that, then the canteen opens at 7:30 for them to stay there until the rest of the building opens at 8 AM. At 8:30, we have year group lineups, and they're at the beginning of the day, at break time, and then after lunchtime. And then sometimes we have them in the after period for at the end of the day. We have our tutor time, which is our sort of first thing before lesson 1, where they'll do enriching activities based on their personal development. We have a 4-period day, and this includes a 20-minute break and a 30-minute lunch. So they'll do periods 1 and 2, have a 20-minute break, then they'll do period 3, then they'll have a 30-minute lunch, then they'll do period 4, and then they'll have DEAR. DEAR is drop everything and read. It's a chance for pupils to read books as a class with their form tutor. And we also have a wide range of extracurricular clubs that go on every single day up until 4:25 in the afternoon. I'm now going to pass you back to Miss Barr for some more messages.
Thank you so much, Mr. Griffiths. So who will support your son or daughter here at the Avonbourne Academies? Well, pastoral care is a huge part of everything we do here every single day. We want to create an environment in which students are happy, secure, confident, supported and valued. There are lots of people that really create a team around the student to ensure this happens. First of all, we have the tutor. As Mr. Griffiths mentioned, this would be someone that is in your son or daughter's house and will be there really doing them on when it comes to all of those extra activities that Mr. Griffiths mentioned through the house system. The tutor is someone that's going to get to know them really well, because ideally they're going to be with them throughout their journey here at Avonbourne, or at least during the time of their year group. We also have a year 7 team that's made up of a head of year. That member of staff is a teaching member of staff who very much oversees the year group, looks out for them during the morning when they first come in. They're there and available at break time, at lunchtime and after school as well. And they become a real link between home and school, that communication, so that we can really let each other know what's going on in order to make sure that your child is supported. We also have a pastoral lead, that is a non-teaching member of staff, who again is that link between school and home and is there for the students, available to them at the beginning of the day, at break time, at lunchtime, at the end of the day, and of course catching up on various bits and bobs, being able to make referrals for them if there's any additional support they may need. We have the house head, which is a very exciting new part of the process, just starting here at Avonbourne very soon. Myself as the transition coordinator, I'll be going out to all the primary schools very soon. I'm very much looking forward to meeting all of the students who will be coming up to us, introduce myself, introduce Avonbourne, and make sure they feel prepared and ready to hit the ground running when they join us in September. We also have a wellbeing hub. We have a very, very big Senko team, an EAL team for any students who have English as an additional language. And of course, we have all the teaching members of staff. Students are likely to have around 11 to 13 different members of staff that they're going to see over their 2-week timetable, who will get to know them incredibly well during their first term here at Avonbourne. So what are the next steps for transition? Now you've been given your place to join us, we can't wait to meet you. But there's lots of things that need to happen before Tuesday the 5th of September, which is the first day for the class of 2030. I haven't quite explained yet why we call them the class of 2030, but you may have worked out already. That is the year that students will be leaving, hopefully our United Sixth Form in year 13, with an amazing set of A-level results off to university. So even though it seems a long way away now, it certainly will come round quicker than we think. So what's the next step? Well, it actually starts from tomorrow morning. Our data team are going to be sending out data packs. We need all parents and carers to complete these, so we have all that information ready to get going with your son or daughter. There is a return date deadline for that of the 31st of March. I'm going to go through what that process looks like in a second on the next slide. I would really encourage those of you who haven't been in to see us in action already to book on to one of our open mornings. Now, since the places came out last Wednesday, our open mornings have become very, very busy, which is no surprise. I will be putting some more dates on for after the Easter holidays towards the end, of this week. So if there are dates that are currently busy, please do keep an eye on the website and you should be able to book onto one very soon. On those open mornings, you have the opportunity to have a tour from some students, usually in year 8 or year 9 here at Avonbourne, a chance to ask them all the questions, see lessons in action, see what's going on around the academies, and of course speak to members of the senior leadership team at the end of your tour as well. As I mentioned, I'm that lucky person who gets to go out to all the primary schools and meet all of the students before they start with us. Last year, we took students from 38 different primary schools, so it certainly keeps me busy for a few weeks. Lovely opportunity to meet them on their own turf, speak to their teachers who obviously know them incredibly well from primary school, and make sure we're completely ready to welcome them. That's usually around May or June time. I'll also be sitting down with all of the primary teachers to find out a little bit more about your son or daughters. So for example, how they best learn, how they've been getting on, who they work well with, and who maybe isn't a good idea for them to work well with as well. We have some live parent information evenings, as I mentioned at the very beginning, and Mrs. Dyer will be really looking forward to welcome you into our academies on those dates. For the Boys Academy, it's Tuesday the 27th of June, and for the Girls Academy, it's Wednesday the 28th of June. All this information is in the welcome pack that's been posted on our website, so please do have a look through that. And it will talk to you about how we have Stevenson's, our uniform provider, in on the evening to talk you through and show you examples of our uniform before you obviously go out and purchase. And we'll also go through making sure your son or daughter is ready to start with us. We'll also be talking through the plans for the transition day, which will be on Friday the 30th of June this year, when we'll be inviting all of our class of 2030 to spend the day with us and really get a feel for what it's like to be an Avonbourne student. There will also be some additional visits for selected students, for those students who are coming up to us from a primary school, perhaps not knowing many other people. We've obviously got 5 or 6 big feeders who send lots of students to us, very local in our community, but we do take students from lots of different places across BCP. So I'm really keen to make sure those students have an opportunity to meet with some others before they start with us. Now on to a little bit more information about those data packs, which are going to be arriving in your inbox tomorrow morning. Do bear with me, there's quite a few clicks here to make sure that I can share all this information with you. So first of all, this is an example for the Girls Academy. Boys Academy students, yours will be exactly the same, however, obviously we have a different logo on there. So parents, carers, you are going to receive an email tomorrow morning that looks very much like this. It's going to have your email address and a password. Please do make sure you keep that safe. And if you haven't received it tomorrow, do check your junk box. Sometimes find some of them like to sneak their way into there. You'll need to click on the click here box, and that will take you to this slide where you need to click on sign in. Now you're going to use the details that have been provided in that email. So you use the email address and the password provided to you and click log in. You will then be asked to create a new password because it's your first time logging in. And like the students, and like we always say to the students here at Avonbourne, do make sure you've written that down and kept that safe somewhere. The next page will look like this. Now, before you can input any information about your son or daughter, it will ask you to read through a couple of our policies before you continue with your application. So do make sure you've read through those and click accept. You'll then have a chance to start inputting the information. Now, please read through this information carefully. It's really important that we have all the necessary data about your child in order for them to start with us in September. One thing you will also notice on there is an MFL preference. Now, we started this last year and we're giving students and parents the option to choose which language they would prefer, whether that be French, Spanish, or maybe they don't have any preference. We do suggest students carry on with the language that they've been studying at primary school. They've obviously got that basic understanding. However, we know there are some situations where students want to change because of family arrangements or something else that's going on in their lives. I mean, they want to study a different language. This isn't guaranteed, but we will do our very best to ensure that students who complete these data packs on time by that deadline do have the language of their choice when they join us in September. Once you've started input, this is what the screen will look like, and you can see down there there's a little bit more information about the languages as well. Now, as mentioned, please do make sure these data packs are completed by the Friday, the 31st of March. It's really important we have all of that information through about your sons and daughters so that we can fully prepare for them joining us. If you do have any problems with this at all, please do not hesitate to get in touch with us. We know computers can be a little bit of a pain at the best of times, so we're more than happy to support. If you're not sure and we're unable to talk it through on the phone or via email, please do pop into our visitors reception where our staff will be on hand to help you further. So communication from here, do look out for that email coming out tomorrow. Do start to complete that data pack, and there will be, all correspondence from us will come through to that email, to your email address, sorry. And it is the email address that you would have used when you signed up with BCP. So potentially you've got a new one now. So do have a look at what email address you would have used then, as that's the one we will be corresponding with you via. Do have a look on our website. We've got some information, lots of information about our academies, and also some information about transition and further welcome packs and things like that on the transition pages. Book onto one of our open mornings. And please do follow us on social media. It will give you a real flavour for what's going on here, our trips, our activities, and what's going on in lessons as well. If you need anything at all in this transition process, we've got our email address down there, class of2030@avonbourneacademy.org.uk. Please do not hesitate to get in touch. We're all here to support, and we can't wait to welcome you into our academies. We look forward to meeting with you very, very soon, hopefully at one of our open mornings, or failing that, in June, our welcome presentations. Before then, please do have a look on the website, and we look forward to seeing you very soon. Thank you so much for coming this evening.